understand what he did.
Bloodthirsty psychopath. Frothing at the mouth lunatic.
I'm reporting from the state prison that houses the morning roll call massacre shooter, ex-police officer Daryl Spook Spokane, who was convicted of killing 4 of his fellow officers when he opened fire during one of the most heinous mass shootings in American history.
I wanted justice.
Right!
It wasn't enough. I wanted a body.
Spokane will be the first inmate to be executed on live television.
Kill me because I killed others to teach others not to kill.
I feel no pity.
Can you see me?
Good afternoon and welcome back to My Harlem Portraits, the show that wants to shed a light on the fundamental contribution of African Americans to the building of this country and on Black excellence. We have with us a friend of My Harlem Portraits, Meshaun Labrone, an amazing artist, multi-talented artist, an actor, playwright, writer, director, producer, musician, and someone who has been doing acting workshop for college students for a long time. Welcome back to My Harlem Portrait.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Maria. Thank you.
We have a very special reason for having you back because at the time you were doing your show, Spook, and you were trying to bring it, turn it into a movie.
Yes.
And now you did it.
Yes.
So I want to talk a little bit also about the other career that you have been having, because that will tell us how important that your background is for the movie and for the play. Because for 11 years, you have been a corrections officer, Special Deputy US Marshal for the state of Florida, where you were born, and as well, a Metropolitan Police Officer in Washington, DC, where you live now. So you have, all your life, you've been balancing these two very different worlds. And generally, these worlds are separated, really separated from each other. But they are both very, very important, especially in these specific historical moments, which are really terrible. And the justice-injustice system that is dividing and tearing America apart, that's one world you lived in. And the other one, the artists, the storytellers, the creator, who are constantly trying to put together, find the common ground on which to regenerate love, unity, rebuild a more fair society, and more are using their tool, their artistic tool, their platform to provoke dialogue about the current political social situation. Yes. So why did you choose these two paths, which are so different from each other?
Well, in both of these paths, whether it's public safety, which is law enforcement, corrections, working in the courts, federal officer, which is, I worked as all three of these. And as an artist, the fundamental skill that you have to have is being able to communicate, you know, being able to speak to the people and also being able to listen, proper communication. And knowing that I was able to develop these skills, I think as an artist, you're already born with that ability, but to be able to constantly work on them and to fine tune it and still at this point, master it. You know, I felt that having these skills, I'll be able to do well in both areas. One of the things that I loved about public safety is that you are that individual that's out there in the trenches with the people trying to help. You know, you are a public servant, you know what I mean? And I love being in that element because you are immediately affecting the people and bringing about change. If you have the right mind, you have the right heart, and able to deal with all that comes with it, the good, the bad, and the real ugly. And I think it's the same thing as an artist. You know, you have to be born being able to withstand the good, bad, and the ugly as an artist. So being able to walk these two paths, I felt that I've been definitely blessed. And I always wanted to be the type of artist that created art that affected, brought about change, and enlightened the people to a certain extent. And even while doing that, enlightening myself, learning, you know what I mean? And I thought that bringing about this story, Spook, would be able to give me the chance to be on both sides and then give what I found by being on both sides to the people. And I think that we're doing that.
And the reason that you and I met each other is because you were doing at the National Black Theater Festival in Salem, North Carolina, your play about Stokely Carmichael.
Yes.
And that was fantastic.
Yes.
I was mesmerized by that play. I learned about Stokely Carmichael. I never heard about him before.
Yes.
So that's why I invited you to the show the first time, because of that play. And then you came out with this one, which is even stronger, if you want, because it's so current. So tell me a little bit about what Spook is about.
Well, Spook is about an individual by the name of Daryl Spook Spokane, who was a very idealistic individual who wanted to bring about some change in his community, among his people, by taking on the job as a police officer. And, you know, he came in like most rookies do. You know, you want to help, you want to do something right, you want to save the world, very highly idealistic. But once he got in that job, he realized it wasn't this glorious role that he would find himself in. He found, you know, a world that he never knew really existed. I mean, he knew about the police brutality, which is the reason why he wanted to become an officer, but he didn't realize how much adversity that he would come in contact with as a police officer among other officers, as well as the criminal element, also regular civilians who saw him wearing that badge and that gun. And as he continued on his path, he found all of these other ugly things within his department. And when you are not well, you know, and able to deal with that, you will snap, you will crash. This is the reason why most law enforcement officers, they suffer from alcoholism. Their marriages always, most of the time, end in divorce. They have domestic issues that take place. And they, from what I understand, that most law enforcement officers, after they retire, after 20 or 25 years of working, a lot of times within the first 5 years, they end up dying. And also the suicide rate is very high. So these officers are seeing something, they're being exposed to something that's taking them out of there. Yeah. And a lot of times, if it doesn't take them out of there, the people they come in contact with are taken out, you know. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at. And I think that with me putting forth this film, I'm doing my part to shine a light on that.
On what's happened. And we saw it. I mean, everybody in America has witnessed that on January 6th.
Yes.
With what happened in January 6th,
yes,
what those officers were confronted with,
yes,
and what happened afterwards.
Absolutely. And, you know, I've known of some of my colleagues that are still on the department, DC Police, and they said it was really, really bad, and people got attacked, and some of these guys are still dealing with that. Some of these folks, a lot of people don't know, at least in DC Police, they have been on, all hands on deck pretty much since then. Meaning these officers, a lot of these officers are not just working 8-hour days. They're working 10, 12, 16-hour days, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Some of them right now, ever since January 6th. And even before January 6th, with the
Drama.
Derek Chauvin, killing, and all that. These guys are still out there. Now imagine you working 16 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. And then some people will say, oh, that's what they signed up for. Yeah, but to say something like that means, is being very dismissive. And you refuse to view these people as human beings. I don't really believe in this whole thing of us and them. There was one murderer and his accomplice that killed George Floyd. Okay.
Yes.
That was not every single police officer in America that put their knee on that brother. Okay, you know what I mean? And same thing with a lot of these different incidences that are taking place. Now, this is not me putting on the cape for all police officers. Mm-hmm. I think that there's something very dangerous going on where it's like us and them. Because in my community, when stuff jump off, when somebody gets carjacked, when a sister's getting her head busted in by her boyfriend or husband, or vice versa, or a mother's son is going off because he's not taking his medication, they're calling law enforcement. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then if we keep putting out that energy, F the police, F the police, F the police, and then you calling the police, now that individual that I've been hearing that, is he going to be in a rush to come help you when you make that call? He's not. No. And we're seeing that in all of the cities going on right now. Violent crime has gone up everywhere. Most of our metropolitan cities, where my people live, where my people are getting killed, where my people are being jacked. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I understand the deeper meaning when you say F the police, that institution that basically wreaked havoc on us from the time that we've been here. I get that, but I think that we got to be kind of careful. I really do believe, I really do believe that, and this is me putting on my tinfoil kufi, that these folks want us to keep saying that about the police so that somebody can say, well, look, the police are not effective. We're going to have to get reinforcements. And they're going to end up deputizing some of these militias out here and these federal officers, and they're just going to come and slaughter us wholesale. I really do believe that's a setup. Look at the police. They can't help us. They can't do this. Look at them. They're leaving the force. Well, we're going to have to get reinforcements from our militias out here and our National Guard, and my folks are going to be the targets. So I think we need to be kind of careful with that. You know what I mean? Keep raising your voice, telling the people they need to change. We don't need more training in law enforcement. You know what we need? People in there that think like human beings, that could go ahead and recruit and properly vet good people to wear that uniform. Mm-hmm. All the training in the world does nothing but make a racist even more angry at you at the fact that he got to get more training.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then it means that you need to change the mentality because
yes,
how many people like that are there available to become policemen?
Absolutely. So what you have to have, like I said, you have to have good people on those police departments that are hell-bent on ridding these departments of the good old boy system, uprooting racism and implanting justice, freedom, justice, and equality. one brother or one sister going in there to apply is not going to do it. It has to take a huge group effort.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. There are folks out there, but we've been hearing after police so much, it makes anybody say, I don't even want to be a part of that. But to bring about change, we have to get in there with the fight. We can't, all of us can't be outside of that, because the police department's not going anywhere. And I am telling you, if it does go somewhere, I'm telling you what's going to come behind it. It's going to be something 10 times worse.
Yeah.
You know, we would hear about the slave patrols. I am telling you, that is what's going to be implemented next. A militia group who they're going to give their allegiance to that one individual.
Well, they're doing it already now.
Exactly.
It's already happening.
And he's going to say, like one individual said, hey, don't be careful with their head when you put him in the car. If he bucks, let him hit his head.
Yeah.
That's not a joke.
We heard someone saying that.
Exactly. That's a real dog whistle. We got to be careful, and be careful of attacking these departments that have these Black chiefs too.
Yes.
Don't do that, people. That's not helping us. What's going to help? You constantly come in there with the fight. Some of us need to be police officers. Some of us need to hold office. Some of us need to be out there with the signs and raising our voices. It's going to take a collective, but you know, words and all this and insults and stuff like that, that's not going to get it. We all got to be in this thing together.
And this, when you're talking like this, I was going to ask you that you said this thing, while being Black and wearing blue, how difficult is being Black and wearing blue? And now that you're saying all that you're saying, I understand what you meant by this sentence here, which is very well. Mayor-elect Eric Adams here in New York seems to, as far as I can see, really go in the right direction. He was talking about, first of all, he was a police officer. Right. So he knows what he's talking about. For years, he was a police officer. He just appointed a woman as police commissioner. He just appointed a new. So he's been revolutionizing everything. And for what you were talking about before, when there is a crisis in a family, there is a son who's going crazy because he hasn't taken medicine or because he has taken some drugs and so on, you call the police. But that's because there is nobody else to call right now. Whereas what you want to implement is a special section of people who are dedicated to that. Medical experience, psychological experience, and so on, who will be responding to this kind of calls, because there would have been many less people killed if this was implemented already. Yes. In many cases. Yes. Because as you said, policemen are not prepared to deal with someone who wants to commit suicide or who wants to kill someone because he has a mental problem. So that's very important. But let's go back to your show, Spook, because Spook was a play and now you turned into a movie for which you also did the soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we did a soundtrack. Originally, the soundtrack was for the play. Okay. That soundtrack is still available now. We're actually working on another soundtrack for the film. Most of that will be basically some of the music that you hear underneath the score. Right. You know, but we're going to probably have like maybe 2 or 3 tracks also on this soundtrack. And most of those tracks will be led by a rapper by the name of Red Fidel. And he's amazing. I've known him forever. He's out of Miami, but lives in Atlanta. Amazing artist, I tell you.
So when you say that, you mean that you're going to change it because the movie's out now, right?
Right. So that soundtrack was originally for the play.
The one that is on the movie now.
Right. But what we
Right.
have now as far as the film, we're going to create another one, but mostly with the score and a few new tracks to go with this whole basically universe. I tell you, this whole weekend I've been bombarded with text messages, emails, calls, and people are just being, I mean, it's such an incredible response. And some of these folks are seeing a whole world here. So they're asking me, well, who's that correction officer? What's his story? The reporter, what's her story?
Mm-hmm.
And so now it looks like the idea of me writing a story that has everything to do with that officer and that reporter and Spook before this interview is coming about. Mm-hmm. Also, we've already written a entire outline for the series from the beginning of Spook as a rookie officer, all the way to the beginning of the interview here. So we're hoping that TUBI will get on board, and sign us up to go ahead and get this series going, because I think the people want it. There's a lot of questions out there.
Want it because this is amazing. I mean, I saw both the play and I saw pieces of the movie now, and it's really incredible. And because I know quite a few police officers who are telling me exactly the same thing that you were telling me. Police officers who had to go through who had to go through a lot of problems because they were refusing to profiling people, but they were refusing to do certain things and so on. And I think this is something that we just need, it needs to stop, because it's not good for anybody. It's not good for the police officers. It's not good for the public that they serve. And it's not good for the safety of everybody, of individuals. So Spook is right now, tell our viewers, if you want to see this beautiful movie, it is playing on TUBI TV, which is a free TV.
Absolutely. All you got to do is just sign up, and there it is. You don't have to pay anything, nothing. All you got to do is just sign up, type in Spook, S-P-O-O-K, and there you go. And I'm telling you, you are going to want to watch this movie 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. You're going to tell all of your people about it. If you were shocked and like kind of empowered by some of the things that either Chris Rock says and some of his stand-up, or Dave Chappelle is saying, I mean, there's something that's just, wow. You watch this film, Huey P. Newton's story, if you saw that, you know, if you saw those, if you saw what the brother did when he did Rodney King, you know, it's along that line. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, folks, you are going to really, really love this piece. I think it's one of my best piece of theater that I've ever created. And after this, we are in pre-production for Power Stokely Carmichael too.
Oh, the movie?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, because that was amazing also. I'm very happy for you. We have come to the end of our conversation. For our viewers, you have seen the trailer because we began this conversation. Before the conversation, I showed you the trailer of Spook. Go and see Spook on TUBI. If you have a Fire Stick, you can see it straight from your TV. If you don't, you can see it on your computer. Go and see Spook, because you will see something that really will awake something in you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So thank you so much, Meshaun, to have been with us again, and good luck with this. I know that you're gonna go places, and we'll talk next year again.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye. Thank you, and thank you to our viewer. Thank you for having passed this time with us again. Bye-bye.